Hi everyone, I'm just making this video to let you know that I've released a new package on Gumroad called the Stylized Hard Surface Material Pack. It contains 9 pre-made procedural materials, and as the title suggests, they are stylized with the intention of being used for hard surface artwork. They allow for a significant amount of variety with color gradients and different surface effects like splats and galvanization. It's quite a simple node setup, which we'll take a look at in a minute. It's of course quite easy to use. If I create an object, then I can select one of the materials I like, then press Ctrl L, and then link it to materials. So if we jump over to another piece of artwork, I can demonstrate this better. So here I have the cover artwork for Bigen version 6. You can also pick this up separately for about $9 on Gumroad. This artwork was originally made for Cycles, and we can see this because the eyes aren't rendering properly. But we'll start this demonstration in Eevee, and then I'll show you how the materials look in Cycles. So the way it works is that you will select the objects you want to apply the material to, then you'll choose one of your liking, so I'm going to go for the bluey purpley one down here, then press Ctrl L, Materials. Then you'll see how the material is applied. It adapts to the shape because it's completely procedural, and then if I move over to Cycles, we can see how it looks here. Now the ambient occlusion is a lot more accurate in Cycles. These materials are all making use of the ambient occlusion node. This is to get some curvature effects and some discoloration. So there's a variety of choices here. Some are a bit more crazy than others. I can go for something that's a bit more dramatic, for example. Or maybe something that's a bit more subtle and calming. Or maybe something that's a bit more crazy. I'm quite inspired by the work of Pascal, who does a lot of extremely vibrant work with a mix of hard surface and organic elements. So naturally, being able to support a wide range for color is something that I wanted to emphasize here. So now let's take a look at the nodes. I'll keep using this skull, but I'll move over to the Eevee viewport because it'll be faster to render. I'm going to apply the purple one because that's one of my favorites. Okay, so if we take a look inside of the nodes, you'll see that we've got a bunch of generated noise textures along with Musgrave and Voronoi, and what this does is it will construct the different surface patterns. Where the Mix RGB set to screen mode nodes are next to these color ramps here, this is where the different layers of the pattern will be added on top of each other. And then the result of this is then put through an invert and darken node, and I'll show you why in a second. And then here the ambient occlusion is fed through color ramps into the color and through the roughness. So if you want to adjust the prominence of the different surface effects, you can adjust the sliders. You can also modify the factor value of the screen nodes, and this is essentially the equivalent of an opacity value. What invert will do will allow us to invert the influence of the patterns. This is quite cool for finding a delicate balance. But because these materials are highly stylized and not really based in reality, you can think of this as basically blending between two different materials. Taking a look at the AO and color range area, the second color ramp you can basically think of as a gradient of color of the proximity of objects to other objects. So for example, if I start changing the colors in this ramp, you can see how the material responds. So we can get these interesting and strange metallic effects. The top color ramp basically acts as the primary color. So I can change this to something a bit more golden if I like. Overall, because these materials are stylized and not grounded in reality, it means you can get a wide variety of looks. And as stated, these materials work in both the Eevee and the Cycles rendering engine, so feel free to pick up a copy and play around with them. Another announcement, and something that's a bit more boring, is that on my official website there's now a store directory, so you can find all of the resources that you need. Gumroad's profiles can be a bit tricky to navigate sometimes, so on my website you can filter down all of the products to add-ons, resources, and tools. Each of the product pages also has Gumroad embedded, so if you click on the link, it will open up Gumroad within the website, so it's quick and easy to get your hands on the different products. I also want to say thank you for the positive responses on my Learn to Ignore People video. I was a bit hesitant about doing just a purely discussion video that was focused solely on my face for the entire video, because for some reason I felt like I wasn't really allowed to do that, since this is primarily a Blender channel more than anything else. But the positive response has definitely encouraged me to maybe do more of that type of content in the future. And for those of you that were paying attention, CG Matter also did a response to that video showing their own thoughts. We've had quite a few discussions about the subject, and it's interesting to see other people sharing their sympathies and their own stories about it. Also, for those of you that don't know, I've started putting out weekly newsletters using my Gumroad mailing list. Any content I put online that I don't make a video about will also get shared on here, so if you're interested in staying up to date, then make sure to follow me on my Gumroad profile. As for another news update, on my Discord server we've been experimenting with doing art challenges. They run for 1 week, with a 5-day period in between for a break. We've had some really cool submissions, and they're a great opportunity to advance your skills. So if you're interested in taking part, then come on over to the server. If you want to get pinged for challenge updates, then just ask for the challenger role. Okay, that'll do it for news. If you're interested in picking up a copy of these materials, then you can do so using the link in the description. So thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.